And so the day has finally arrived. Yes, the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade saga, which felt inevitable for a long time, is it's apparently commencing. As of yesterday, he has a calf strain. And also, we heard the thing about the agent and saying, look, they're discussing their future, and it's time, right? It's time, and people really just have to start, I think, just looking at history. Just look at the history of star players moving. Not even just history. All you actually ever have to do to know what's going to happen with the player next is look at their team situation. And with the Milwaukee Bucks, I came into this year not pushing the trade, right? Because anytime you talk about the reality of a star being traded, especially the fans from that market are going to say you're trying to move them from a small market, fake news this, fake news that. But it's the same thing if you watched the video on my main channel where I kind of predicted the Grizzlies ending. All you ever have to do is look at a team's future draft picks and their salary sheet. That's it. So the salary sheet shows you the contracts, it shows you the player's age, it's their assets. It's really a listing of an organization's assets. When the Milwaukee Bucks had the unfortunate event, really, of Chris Middleton's health just deteriorating as soon as they got Lillard, that was one thing. That kind of tanked the Lillard era a little bit. But then Lillard getting injured, obviously they never even had a healthy playoff run together. Then Lillard tears the Achilles. So to get rid of him, they had to stretch the contract. That's kind of their only option at that point. You do that, and Giannis is still of the opinion, hey, I want to be a Buck, but the NBA is a business, and I'm never going to say never. That has been his take the entire time he's ever been asked about it. He's never actually committed. So the hubris some people were showing, just saying, yeah, he's never leaving, and these are fake. Okay, he never committed. And then you look at the Bucks assets, right? First of all, he's 31. The organization doesn't have any picks. They're swaps until 2030. That means if it's a high pick, another team, the team who has the swap option, gets to swap the pick. So there's that. Then the assets on the roster. I thought it was encouraging they came into this year and Ryan Rollins emerged out of nowhere, because then I was going, okay, there's a potential asset. If Kuzma does some good things, maybe there's a potential asset there. And if the Bucks had have stayed healthy, because you remember they started this season good, it was Giannis and it was shooters. So it was in theory going to be enough to probably crank out a decent record in the East. Then he got hurt, and yeah, it fell apart immediately. So you're 10-13 now. They were probably never going to be talented enough to get out of the East this year, even if they would have went far. And that's not even the problem. Even if they had won 45 or 50 games this year, they still have no way to make this a championship team with the way their business is set up right now. Before Giannis is what, 33, 34? In the era of star players wanting to stick out, just tough spots like that, it's first of all, it's over. And second of all, Giannis has always said he wants to win. So it was a no-brainer. Yeah, they were, I think once Lillard tore his Achilles, this storyline just started in motion immediately. And then everyone called the Shams report fake about him wanting to go to New York. But that one has started to be substantiated a bit. Regardless, now they have to look at it. It would appear he's probably played his last game in the Bucks uniform. I was really confused by that injury last night. I was scared, but I didn't know how scared to be, because I've never had to look at an injury and actually wonder where's the injury, especially when it's an Achilles. Those I feel like you can always just kind of see and tell. Anyways, that's a different conversation. Who does it now make sense for to trade for Giannis? The other report that comes is he's going to give a list of teams he wants to play for, and Milwaukee's going to make do with that. But even then, this is not just an auto, okay, yeah, everyone open up the, I'm sure a lot of teams are going to call, but what you do have to, you have to take a couple of things into account here. You have to take into account the type of player Giannis is. Does he fit your team? And for the assets you're going to give, does he fit your timeline? So when the Rockets got KD this summer, it was great for them. They didn't have to sacrifice a ton of pieces. They didn't have to ruin their timeline. They for real just kind of got to put him on top of what they had. Obviously, Dillon Brooks is having a great season, but I don't think anybody would argue the Rockets didn't kind of win here. They got him under a perfect circumstance. Giannis is nowhere near as old, but he is 31. So a team you'll hear come up on the conversation is the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are young. They are a very young team. As a matter of fact, they're so young. That's one of the conversations that's being had right now is, okay, Trae Young is starting to approach 30. He has a player option for next year, but it really is a kind of a situation where he and the Hawks need to decide if they want to extend this further. And so Giannis, being 31, is going to come onto a team of mid-20, early 20-year-olds. And the reason I bring them up first, they kind of have a great shot at it. Not even going to lie to you. They have 2 picks that they could entice them with. The one where the Pelicans did the whole Derek Queen thing over summer. You know, I'm actually not sure if that's exactly how this pick ended up with ATL. Either way, the Pelicans pick did go to ATL. However bad the Pelicans continue to do, and Zion is now out, it's going to go up. They also have the Bucks pick, and the Bucks now, regardless, do look, no matter who they do business with, they do look like they are probably going to falter. And then they could also ask, this is Giannis we're talking about, they could ask for some young players here. Take your pick. You got Reese Shea sitting right there. Fuck, Okongwu has started to shoot threes. There is a Jalen Johnson. Now, this is why we need to talk about these, right? Because does it make sense for the Atlanta Hawks to do this? The only way you ship Jalen Johnson out in a deal here is if you're keeping Trae Young. Because Jalen is extremely young. He's extremely talented. His ceiling, he's not gotten close to it yet. If you are sending him out, Trae's still got to be there. You got to try to run the whole 2-man game with them, which after watching Giannis play with the point guard that needed the ball, I'm not 100% sure. You know, if you're sacrificing that, you're ATL though. You probably are picking up the phone. The other thing here is, let's say Trae Young was involved in that deal for some reason, which Milwaukee, being at a place where they need to start over and rebuild their assets, not sure why you would take a late 20-year-old in this, but if you do business with the Atlanta Hawks, what I do wonder for them is the fit. Right now, ATL is a great defensive team, especially without Trae. They've got a lot of length. They've got a lot of guys of the same archetype. I've been meaning to make a video about them anyways. I'm kind of doing my GM with them right now with Jelani. That team could be pretty nasty, but then you have to wonder, okay, let's say it turns out to be a Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, you put Giannis there. There's so many guys that could be involved in this deal. That's why I'm kind of struggling with it. But regardless, you do kind of wonder then the spacing situation. The Hawks have players who can shoot threes. I don't think the Hawks have players who are going to, going to be a great fit around Giannis. So you put Jalen Johnson, who right now his strongest attribute is getting downhill. He shoots the ball, but at the moment it's definitely getting downhill, kind of playing in that mid area. You do kind of quickly get into a does it fit situation, and can we make it work fast enough? Because he's going to age. He's going to age into his 30s, and you've got a young team here. And if you're ATL, you also have to be thinking, okay, young team, we low-key can deal with this Trae Young situation and maybe cash him out for some pieces on this young team and keep the Pelicans pick, and then go into this draft and pick a potential star to go with this core. Do we shatter this core and just go for it, basically? I think that's the only way it makes sense to trade for Giannis, is if you can go for it right now. That being said, this team is definitely going to pick up the phone, the same way the Spurs will. San Antonio was a conversation that was already being had over summer, and it quickly became the same convo you have when these type of stars are available. Do we trade the assets? And in San Antonio's case, they're even winning without Wemby right now. De'Aaron Fox is playing amazing basketball. When Wemby comes back, that is probably going to be an amazing team. Dylan Harper is one of the best rookies in the league. Do you spend the assets it's going to take to put Giannis with Wemby and more than likely deplete the team? And then does it fit? I know it's crazy to ask questions about a Giannis and Wemby deal, but in the event you have significantly dented the rotation and you put Giannis with Wembanyama, these are two players who are in the league right now are not trusted from three. Giannis will take them. Wemby will definitely take them, but that's not either of their best qualities. And then say you've kept De'Aaron Fox, cool. We are definitely out of the era though of big threes and very, very subpar support winning titles, especially with who's at the top right now. Then again, timeline question. Wemby, extremely young. A lot of the players that would go in this deal, extremely young. Do you push that timeline up, deplete the roster, have a 30 plus Giannis with Fox and Wemby, which probably won't do it right now, and then try to figure it out from there? I don't know. Nonetheless, they will pick up the phone. The Pistons are going to call. Even though with their pick situation, and they're a team on the rise right now, for the foreseeable future, it's kind of their draft picks, I believe. So I'm not really sure how many assets the Pistons could entice them with. Duran would have to be a part of this deal. But even then, a lot of the players on Detroit right now, yeah, if I'm Milwaukee and I'm trading Giannis, I want some better players and I want some better picks. But yeah, I think if you've watched Detroit this year, you know to win a championship, to get over that hump, they are 100% going to have to get better. It's a good team. They play great basketball. They play great defense. They do indeed need a second all-star / superstar with Cade in the future. And they're a young team, so it's not even time to really be rushing yet. Their star is young, and you maybe don't have to rush in their situation where he and Duren could be a really good future duo. But I would understand why, as Detroit, you would go ahead and make that call, especially with their last, 15 years of basketball. They're gonna try. The Knicks apparently already did try. I just don't really know exactly how to get this deal done. The Bucks rightfully don't really care for Cat in this, but this is also a team who, going forward, if they haven't figured it out, they might bottom out by I don't know, late 2020s, early 2030s, and they do have those picks to send. Not a ton though. If we're in 26 right now, the next time the Knicks, I think some of their players come off the books after 27, so you're really looking at the pick bank after that. And then the players they have. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, do you care about a 28 and 29-year-old Bridges and Anunoby and some picks that may or may not matter? I don't know. I think there's a reason this deal didn't get done over summer, and I don't think it would get done now. Not just straight up with those two, it wouldn't. Not even going to do this whole thing with the Miami Heat. Pat Riley, look, the Heat are 4th right now, okay? If history tells us anything, Pat is so cool with having a decent team that he thinks can get out of the East. This year, I think he has a decent team that he might think can get out of the East. So I don't even know if he's going to get into the whole mess of putting together a package and then what you get back after that. Once again, same thing. He's in his 30s. Can you build it fast enough? Yeah, you know, I'm tired of talking about I feel like I have literally been talking about the Miami Heat getting a star since the days when they popped up randomly as a dark horse to get Kevin Durant back in 2016. It's just, they're just always there. Of course, Chicago is going to call. Why wouldn't they? They have Giddey there. They were exciting to start the year. The defense cratered. One of the things is you can't be a team that has to kind of rely on ball movement and have bad defense and not have another superstar. The Hawks are doing decent right now with what they have. Is because their defense still holds. The Bulls, you hear them regularly in Anthony Davis talks, which that's just any team that trades serious assets for Anthony Davis right now is going to get what they deserve. But Chicago has been known to just do anything, so they would love to put Giddey, Giannis, and whoever else out there and go for it. They'll have something to sell their fans. Given Giannis is going to be the one giving the list, I don't really know why he would put Chicago there, to be honest. That's the other part. You have to look at who would Giannis put on his list. We know the Knicks are probably there. I think he could be interested in the Hawks, maybe Detroit. Oh, but how about OKC, who actually has the easiest time trading for Giannis if they want to? That's the whole thing about how they've done this era. The Presti Protocol, they are the most talented team in the league, one of the youngest teams in the league, and they also have future assets. The way their contracts are set up, they can just keep this going. They can just swap guys out. If Hardenstein walks over summer, they're going to have contingency for that. However, it makes no sense for OKC to destroy what they have to trade for Giannis. It just doesn't. They just want a championship with what they have. One of the reasons it kind of became a struggle is they had a hard time working against zone. Don't know if you trade a bunch of players and then put Giannis into that mix, but then also that speeds your timeline up. You just won a championship once again with the youngest players. Caruso is the oldest and he's only 30, I believe. Yeah, you just don't really need to do this if you're OKC, who is 21-1. Probably looks like they'll win 70+ games. Once again, we are in a different era now. It's not about having a duo and a depleted team, although they could trade for Giannis and still have a lot left over. That's the whole funny part, right? But again, why? Funny though, I felt the same way about the Warriors in 2016. Yeah, I absolutely did have the opinion when the KD rumor started very early that season. I was going, bro, they're gonna win. They look like they might beat the Bulls record this year. They just won the championship. Why sacrifice the depth for KD? And then, of course, the 2016 playoffs happened and, they took it out on the league. Oh, we're going to see some nasty mock trades from the Lakers. And as you've probably seen the tweet on Twitter, you can't even tell them they're wrong after what just happened. So yeah, unless there is more divine intervention though, the Lakers, I don't think they have the assets for this. I just think there will be more enticing offers than Austin Reeves, some other role players, and some shaky picks. Yeah, there's teams that'll be able to do better than that. Houston, 3rd seed right now. Will they pick up the phone again? Now, this is where you just have to balance between going for a title you clearly want and also just thinking, because yeah, you already did this once and you got by getting KD, as we said. And He's a little bit older. You add a Giannis who's a little bit older than the rest of your roster. It's gonna cost you. Do you do that? And will the basketball make sense? But I'm sure there will be calls. Yeah, after that, I don't know. I mean, again, I'd never say never. When Paul George went to the Thunder, I was on video saying, oh, it's not like he's gonna go to the Thunder or anything, and he ended up on OKC. Lillard on the Bucks caught me all the way off guard, especially because the prospects of 3-team deals and how big blockbuster trades can get. Yeah, we really have no clue where he's actually going. But here, I think I've gone through the teams who will call, and it will make sense for them to call. It'll make sense for Milwaukee to listen. If I had to really narrow it, I do honestly think it's probably most realistic and likely for the Hawks and Spurs. Just because of the assets the Hawks have, where they are right now, them having to they're at a crossroads with the trade situation. They do have to make a decision on what's going to happen there. I think it lines up enough where I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. Same thing for the Spurs, that we thought that might happen over summer. From there, I would be slightly surprised if any of the other teams here got it done. I didn't really mention Toronto. I'm sure they'd love that. They've also finally put a core together that is working, especially in this East at the moment. And yeah, they've got their pick every year from here up to 2032, I believe. And you never know which way things are going to go with them from year to year, I believe. I still think that one's kind of shaky because just in terms of players here too, you have to ask for the Bucks. You're looking at them as a team that is restarting totally in terms of picks, in terms of players. Yeah, there will be a call there for sure. Yeah, let me know where you think Giannis is going. Do you think it'll be this season? And where do you want to see him go? Leave that in the comment section. Also, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.